TV News political commentator Scott Reid, who is standing by with more on the trade deficit and those senior ministers in Mexico for trade talks. Good to see you, Scott. What do you think?
Well, I think we're there out of self-interest. I think that we're looking at the fact that Mexico had a 90-day extension, so we need to hightail it down there, find out what kind of talks they're having, and make certain that in the course of whatever discussions they might have with the Americans, Canada doesn't get frozen out or somehow sidelined or injured. But then I think there's a broader mutual interest between ourselves and Mexico. And it's not just seeing if we can extend and deepen our own bilateral relationship in terms of trade, if we can't rely on the United States as well. But clearly, Trump has CUSMA in his sights. If he's going to go to this extent to disrupt global trading patterns, you can only imagine what he's going to do when it comes to the renegotiation of CUSMA, which offers pretty well unfettered access to his market from Canada and Mexico. So we have a common interest, Canada and Mexico, in preserving that agreement and making certain that we do everything we can to secure as much access to the American market as possible. And I think that's the longer-term game in this visit.
We've had a couple of days now to sort of process the whiplash, what happened on Thursday, Friday, and through the weekend now, and sort of this heightened level of anxiety for Canada, Scott. Where do you think we are right now?
There's two really notable things about this period. It is a monumental event that went by noticed, but not necessarily a source of panic. And so first, the Prime Minister's response has been very muted. It's a deadline that's passed. We'll continue with discussions, but frankly, let's get on with what we can control. And so whether that means sending ministers to Mexico, or like today, we're going to see him in British Columbia talking about supports. I'm almost certain he's going to focus on supports to a hard-hit industry by trade. That's going to be softwood lumber in this case. But I would imagine that sets a pattern. Will we be seeing a similar set of announcements with respect to aluminum, steel, auto, those sectors that are now post-August 1st, particularly in the crosshairs of the American president? My guess is that's all part of the plan. Do our best to support those industries, try to help them and those workers get through this period of uncertainty. At the same time that we regroup and try to do what we can to extend trading relationships with others.
As you know, that's not done overnight, though, is it? I mean, it takes years to recreate trade relationships, to deepen them, to broaden them out here, and so that's not happening, in the next quarter.
It is not, but we better get started, because obviously the message of the past 6 months with Donald Trump is that everything that we thought we knew about global trade is no longer something we know or can rely upon. So I do think it is a longer-term prospect. There's no question about that. On the other hand, you see things like immediate-term supports for hard-hit industries like we're going to hear about today. And in addition to that, I think you're going to see the Prime Minister talk about trying to boost domestic demand for those industries, for those sectors that we also see are hard hit. So for example, how do we buy more steel, buy more of our own steel? If America's going to buy less of it, what kind of projects do we underwrite? What kind of projects do we sponsor and support that might help us buy even more? And then finally, of course, every industry that possibly can needs to get CUSMA compliant as quick as possible, because that is the only way under the fence and into the other side.
Scott Reid with his take. Thanks, my friend. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.